We rock into 8:30 on our high beam this morning, and that means time to talk to Ira Wentworth, the superintendent of Indian Valley Schools. Ira, hi. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for the invite. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem at all. I was lucky to catch you because we're getting pretty close to the beginning of the school year.
Yeah, particularly for us.
Yeah, particularly for you.
Right.
So when does everybody start? Are the teachers there, obviously, in building?
Teachers come a week from today, Monday, August 9th, and students to follow on Wednesday, August 11th. So historically, if you go back in our calendars, we would be 1 year earlier now than we
a week.
1 week earlier than we have historically. So typically in the past it would have been an August 18 start for the kids, but so moved it up 1 week. Seemed to have pretty good success with that early dismissal there mid-May last spring, so we'll roll with that again.
Sure. If it's working, why mess with
exactly.
it, right? And football season starts a little sooner, so that in a way kind of helps that.
Right. OHSA bumps their season up a week to be able to expand the playoffs, so it's sort of natural. It's, people are going to be getting back into the school mode here before we know it.
Yeah, the fall sports started August 1st,
right?
Officially for practice and that sort of thing. So that was yesterday.
Right.
Speaking of football,
sure.
The new stadium debuted last fall, unfortunately under the cloak of the pandemic.
I know, right? I mean, how many times does a community get to christen a new stadium facility, right? So, but we were able to open it and go with it last fall, but with the COVID restrictions, of course, we couldn't do a ribbon cutting or an open house, but we're looking forward to doing that and having an event tomorrow night to invite the community in to get a little deeper look if they would like.
So will there be somebody there to point things out and help out?
Yeah, we'll have, myself, the athletic director, a couple staff members there on site. Many people have been in the stadium for a game or a track meet, but we'll open up the press box, the locker rooms, the multi-purpose area inside the field house where we have a new weight room, where we have some batting cages for baseball. I saw some pictures online where our band, it had a thunderstorm during band camp, and they were able to go inside to the multi-purpose space in the field house. So we'll open that up and let people poke around.
That's the thing. It's still called a football field for the most part. I mean, stadium, but it is multiply used. That's not the right word. But,
no, you're right.
Multiple teams and organizations like the band, and they can be on that infinitely and not wear the grass out.
No, exactly. And if I think about last February, we had a couple 60-degree days, but the grass was wet and muddy because of the winter thaw. But baseball, softball able to get on there, so multiple student athletes are benefiting from the facility.
And you want to take a look at that because that's a basis of community pride, I would sure think.
We're getting a lot of positive feedback. We've gotten a lot of feedback over the last year. People are just super pleased, and the pride is the word. They're proud to be Braves, and I think it represents our community well. Absolutely.
We were talking a little bit before we went on about the buildings, of course, the 4 communities, and the new high school is now 15 years old.
Yeah, we'll be starting our 15th year in that, and the elementaries, and the over at the middle school in Tuskegee. So we still call them the new buildings, and we treat them like they are. There's been a few maintenance things that we stay on top of, get midway through the second decade here, but it's just hard to imagine that we just opened those buildings in 2007. To guys like you and I, that just seems like yesterday.
I know. Yeah, you saying that right. I broadcast the first basketball game from there against Cambridge. Gene came back.
Yeah, right.
And so that's been a little while.
Sure.
What about the different buildings in the communities? And how are things going? First of all, what's happened with Kelly Field? Who's using that?
Sure. We still use Kelly Field for our middle school football team, not for the games. Those kids want to play on the turf too, but they practice over there. Formerly they practice in a stone-ridden field behind the middle school. No real locker room facilities to speak of. So now the middle school team gets to use the locker room facilities, use that for practice.
Which are nice.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Our youth flag football teams use that over there. And this summer, actually, we had a semi-pro football team rent the facility. So it's still seeing some action, and I believe the Village of Midvale might use it to still host, to stage their annual Halloween parade from.
Yeah.
So, and you hand out awards and stuff. So it's still in service to the community, and we'll still maintain it and upkeep it for everyone.
That's the thing. The schools are still the hubs of the communities.
They are.
And are there any updates of things that are going on at any of those buildings?
So we have some new staff in each of the buildings. That's common each year. This year in particular, I'll say on the support staff side, we have several new custodians, or we have a new secretary at Port Washington Elementary. I think that's worthy to note. Sherry Morrison, Indian Valley people will know she's been the secretary at Port Washington for 30 years. She's the face of that building. So she has retired. We wish her well. Sad to see her go, but good for her. But we will welcome a new secretary, Jessica Doan, there. Jessica's driven bus for us the last few years and has done a wonderful job, and we're looking forward to having her in that seat.
Anything new school-wise? I mean, curriculums change and that sort of thing. Is there anything you guys are adjusting to in that vein?
No, it's just a matter of, I think, getting back after 2021 and the distractions of COVID to really make sure that our eye's on the ball. Not that we took our eye off the ball academically, but I think we're just make a lot more headway without the COVID distractions. And so that's what we're hopeful for, is just to maintain a focus on student learning.
Well, some time had to be spent with COVID protocol. I mean, that was required.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we can pull away from that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had we had 3 different models. We had a 5-day in-person model for families that wanted their students to come. We had an online curriculum that they could work sort of at their own pace, but they had to stay on pace, don't get me wrong. And then we also had synchronous Zoom classes. And I want to give a tip of the cap to our teachers who made that work, because our teachers taught both the in-person kids and those synchronous kids in the Zoom classes. And now we're not offering that this year. I don't think we can sustain that for a second year. That was a heavy lift, but we're looking forward to kids getting back in person. That's where they learn the best, build those connections, those relationships.
Yeah, well, and it's good to have a single focus, I guess, on the year.
Right on.
So how are the Wentworth? You're not the only superintendent in the house anymore.
No, I am not. I'm super proud of her, but I say for years I've known, I'm not the smartest in the house, and I'm not the best looking. I'm not even the best electrician. But I could go home thinking I'm the best superintendent in this house. And those days are gone now too. Well,
you're a pretty darn good one, so we're glad, and all the kids are good, and so
they are.
Good, right?
Everyone's healthy, and they're young adults now, and getting married, and having engagements, and so a lot of life activities going on.
So again, that open house is tomorrow. What times is that going on?
Open house at the Indian Valley Stadium, Tuesday, August 3rd, from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. So come on out and check things out.
All right, that sounds like a great invitation. Ira, thanks a lot.
All right, Brad, appreciate it.
Put you back to work now.
Sounds good.
All right. Ira Wentworth, who is the superintendent of Indian Valley Schools, our guest here on the 8:30 High Beam on the BT Morning Show.